We do have a few folks joining us, so welcome everyone who is joining us. We will get started here in just a minute or two. We'll give folks a couple more minutes to join us, and we'll get situated to go Facebook Live as well. So just give us a few minutes, and we'll let some people join in. And if you're on the call today, feel free to chat in. If at any point you would like to speak, I'll have to change the setting because mostly it's just the board that is on our video here, and everyone else will just be joining as a participant to listen. But feel free to chat in. So you shouldn't have access to a video or audio. You'll just be watching today. But if you do want to, we have an announcement section at the end, and if you do want to chime in, I do have the ability to allow you to talk. So we can always do that at the end. But yeah, don't worry, we can't hear you. We can just see your name on a list. And we're happy to have some announcements or comments at the end for sure. But,
and speaking of chat, please pop your name and organization, if you have one that you're representing, into the chat so we can know who all's here.
Just a small group so far, but looks like a few more people are joining us.
Do we want our screen names to indicate our organization?
If you would like, for sure. And if you can rename yourself, if you can't, let me know and I will change it. So Carmelo, who is joining us, she just chatted into the chat box. She had emailed me and Dave a couple days ago and is I believe a friend of Charlie's, and is looking to get more involved in gardening and the food movement and things like that. So I'm glad you're here with us today, Carmelo.
He,
sorry, I don't know why I thought that was, maybe I was thinking like Carmen.
could be.
Sorry.
It's okay. There's all kind of names.
Carmen San Diego, there we go. And Susan is with us from Tarrant Area Food Bank. We've got a few more names. Chelsea McCall from, tell me, Common Threads? That's right, Common Threads. Kristen, Catherine, thank you for joining us. And we're at 4:03, so Susie, I'm gonna go ahead and get Facebook Live going and then we can get started.
Sounds great.
Okay, let me make sure I can do this right.
Just a quick introduction. Kristen Chan is THI North Texas new Child Coalition Specialist. So she's going to be working child hunger work with a coalition-based approach.
Awesome. All right, are we ready, Becca?
It is looking like it's almost ready on my screen, and I think we're up and running. So take it away, Susie.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Tarrant County Food Policy Council meeting for December of this crazy year. I'm Susie Marshall. I am the chair of the Food Policy Council, and I am really glad that all of y'all have joined us, whether you're on the webinar or if you are joining us on Facebook Live. It's fantastic. We have a pretty business meeting today. We don't have a speaker, but we want to invite you to let us know what organization you're with, if you have one, and by typing your name and that organization in the chat. If you're on Facebook, you can do that in a Facebook comment, and then we will also be able to track that. We'd love to know that you're here with us and who all's here. If you have comments or questions or anything, you can also put those in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or the webinar. And we will have an opportunity to share at the end of the meeting. So if you have things you want to share with the group or additional comments, you will be able to share those later on. So we're going to go through officer reports. We have some new board members that we want to welcome and do a little intro for. And then working group updates, and then we'll talk a little bit about 2021, which is apparently right around the corner, although it feels like it might still be, I don't know, June or April or September or something. It's really hard to, I find it hard to keep track of time these days. So we will go ahead and get through and work through our reports. I'm going to start actually with Michelin. Do you have anything to share? Are you still with us, Michelin? There you are. As the past chair, do you have anything to share with us?
You know, nothing in particular. I'll just take a moment and say that we are, you know, at Tarrant Area Food Bank, we're really trying to move along with how the environment is changing around us in terms of food security and the need. So we can certainly provide updates, but we're doing a lot to change how we feed people, where we feed people, and what kind of programming we're offering to the community, both in response to COVID and the current conditions now, but also looking forward that this is going to be an issue for, you know, perhaps 18 to 24 months in terms of the economic impact. So I don't want to take all the time, but if people have interest in knowing more about what's going on, I'm happy to do that after the meeting at any point.
Awesome. Thank you. Harrison, do you have anything for us as secretary?
Yeah, I do. There are no minutes to report since we are recording the meeting, but we'll be making that recording available to anyone who wants to watch it at a later date. It'll be emailed out as well after the meeting, along with a short summation, in case anybody wants to watch it then. And that email is going to go out to all of our subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, if you're not getting meeting announcements, then please email us at tarrantcountyfoodpolicycouncil@gmail.com, and we'd love to get you on that list. I'd also like everyone to mark their calendar for the next general meeting, and that's going to be on February 4th. That's the first Thursday of February at 4 p.m. So mark your calendars for that, and we'll have another meeting then. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Harrison. Fantastic. Let's see, our treasurer is not with us, but I don't think we've had any unusual expenditures recently. So we haven't had events or things like that. You are always welcome to make a donation to the Tarrant County Food Policy Council. We are a 501c3, and that can be a tax-deductible donation. All right, Becca, as vice chair.
Sure. I don't have any major reporting to do, and I know we'll talk a little bit about this later in the meeting, but I would just say to everyone watching and who has participated in working groups that I think that we've got a lot of things to look forward to in 2021, and perhaps we'll be doing more work as part of the Food Policy Council. Things like fundraising and events, and I think there's a lot to look forward to. So if you're interested in participating more with us, I think there will be more opportunities, and I'd encourage you to keep staying tuned to what we're doing and listening in, and we'll continue to reach out as we need to.
All right, thank you very much. And now for my own comments. I just want to say that I think this has been, this group does an amazing amount of work being a volunteer organization. And I think it's fantastic. And I think there are, based on other conversations we've had, there are some fantastic plans for 2021. I also want to point out the fact that our Texas State Legislative Session is starting again in January. And I apologize if there's background noise. We've got landscape guys outside, if y'all can hear that. So I am looking forward to having the Food Policy Council engaged in some of the legislative issues that are pertinent to our work. I know there's some great local food and farm bills coming up, some things revolving around SNAP and other access. So there's ways to get plugged into that, and we'll be sharing those opportunities with you as well. I think there's also, my organization, Grow North Texas, is going to be offering some workshops in the coming year for those thinking about getting into farming or just getting into farming. It's technically for beginning farmers, which is if those who've been farming 10 years or less. So we'll be sharing that with the Food Policy Council as well, and those opportunities and getting that out to everyone. I think that's it for me. Up next, we're going to have our new board members introduce themselves. And I want to welcome them officially to the whole council. Welcome these new board members. I'm going to start with Robin. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Hall. I am an extension agent for Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service in Tarrant County. I work for the Expanded Food and Nutrition Education Program, which is a nutrition education program. We provide nutrition education curriculum and classes to the general public for limited resource audiences. And I am really looking forward to serving on the Food Policy Council Board. I'll probably be working in the Children's Health Working Group, but I am happy to help wherever I am, and I'm just excited and looking forward to what 2021 has in store for us.
All right. Is there anything specific that you'd like to see the Food Policy Council do?
Well, to be honest, I haven't had a lot of experience with the Food Policy Council. I believe I've been to one meeting, and that was a couple of years ago. So I have a passion for child nutrition and child health. And so I know that we're thinking about looking at some nutrition education programs that are offered around the county for youth. And so I'm really interested to see what's out there. Considering I work for one of them. So I kind of want to see what else is out there, but I want to learn, I want to glean from all of this great knowledge and passion. And like I said, I want to serve as well. So wherever I can be of help, I'm ready.
Fantastic. Well, we're really glad you've joined us. And I'm glad you're bringing your extension connections and experience and knowledge to the group.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Brittany Rosenberg, you're next.
Thanks, Susie. Thank you, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm Brittany Rosenberg, and today is my second to last day with the city of Fort Worth. I have enjoyed my time as a material management planner and working on keeping stuff out of the landfill, including wholesome, good food that could be eaten by people, for about 3 years now. And I'm headed into the wonderful world of nonprofits. I will be starting on Monday as the new executive director for the State of Texas Alliance for Recycling. So I will still be staying here, and I'm very excited to hopefully bring Fort Worth and Tarrant County onto maybe the state level stage, and also see what we can get accomplished right here at home. So thanks, everyone. I'm excited.
Thank you, Brittany. Alexandra, you are up next.
Thank you, and congratulations, Brittany. That's awesome. My name is Alexandra Thurston. I'm with the City of Fort Worth in the Neighborhood Services Department. I am part of the Community Action Partners, which serves as community action agency for Tarrant County. I've been involved with the Food Policy Council for 5-ish years now, and I am one of the co-chairs of the Children's Health Working Group. I'm looking forward to continuing to do the work in the working group and contributing to the board as a whole, including potentially there's a lot.
Uh-oh. Alexandra, are you still there? Looks like you've frozen. Okay. I'm going to see if we're going to go ahead and move over to Catherine Nicholson, and hopefully Alexandra will be back with us in a minute.
Yes, if she hops back on, we'll let her finish up. I'm Catherine Nicholson. I'm the Regional Director for Texas Hunger Initiative North Texas. We are a project of the Baylor Collaborative on Hunger and Poverty. We focus and work in creating systematic change to address food insecurity issues. And so we do that through a coalition-based approach, and we also work a lot through the expansion and participation in federal nutrition programs. And so I also focus a lot in child hunger work. I'm excited to be part of Tarrant County Food Policy Council. It's a very unique council, and I think it has a lot of great work that's already been done that we can continue to build upon. And true to our organization, if you're going to fight hunger, the best way to do that is through a systematic approach and through looking at it from all angles, through food recovery all the way to overhead policy change. So I'm very excited to be able to participate and help. I work in the communications committee, and I also pop in on all the other meetings because I just love the opportunity to learn and engage. Excited to be here.
Fantastic. Thank you, Catherine. Alexandra, did you have something you wanted to finish up with? I'm not entirely sure where you've cut out.
Well, I was just going to say, as far as I know, I wrapped up my comments, but I don't know what you all heard. So Alexandra Thurston, City of Fort Worth, Neighborhood Services Department, part of Community Action Partners, which is the community action agency for Tarrant County. I've been involved with the Food Policy Council about 5 years. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Children's Health Working Group, looking forward to continuing all of that. Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. All right. Just a reminder to everybody, if you haven't done so already, please pop your name, and if there's an organization that you're connected to, include that in the chat. And if you're watching us on Facebook, then you can come. Becca, did you have your hand up?
I did. Susie, we had a question in the chat box from Carmelo. He would love the link to the beginning farmer training that y'all are having if you have one. If you don't, perhaps that's something we could send out later.
Yeah, it's not, there's not a link yet. It's, it'll be a series of workshops throughout and opportunities throughout the next year. So yeah, we'll definitely get that out when it's ready. We should have our schedule of workshops out in the next couple of weeks, actually. So I'll definitely make sure we share that.
And it would be great to be on Susie's mailing list anyway, so maybe we can get a link to so they can be added to your list.
Yes, you can actually email info@grownorthtexas.org and ask to be put on the email list. That's probably the fastest way to do it at the moment. And we'll make sure you're on the list. It's info@grownorthtexas.org. Okay, up next we have working group updates. First up is the Community Gardens and Urban Agriculture Working Group. Dave Efton-Dillion is the chair of the working group. He's also a board member, current, I guess, outgoing board member, but he's going to continue to work with the working group. And he is an associate professor at TCU. Dave, take it away.
Thank you, Susie. So a couple things at our last meeting. We had a guest presentation by Joa Brown from Blue Zones, and she told us about the resources that Blue Zones can offer for school gardens in our area. So she's the person to contact about that. She also mentioned some gardens that have needs, and it's a little complicated because some gardens are allowing volunteers right now, some aren't. It depends on the individual school's policy. But if you have a passion for helping out with school gardens, you can let me know. I'll put my email in the chat here in a minute, and then I'll be happy to connect you with Ms. Brown, and she can let you know what the needs are. We'll come back to that needs thing in just a second, actually. So we had an update from Becca about the community garden program at the Tarrant Area Food Bank. And the good news is that they've been charged to do a little more work in the community. They've already been doing this, but just to do a little more to help partners who want to start new school gardens and community gardens. It's not that they have a lot of money, they don't, but they have expertise, and they're going to have quarterly garden trainings. So planning your community garden, how to be a community garden leader, that sort of thing. She's also working on a list of mentors, advisors, who, if there's a new community garden, they can reach out to somebody on this list who has the expertise that they're looking for, whether it's drip irrigation or composting or whatever. So that's in progress. We had another guest at the meeting who I put on the spot because I asked him to tell us about his project. So it was Julian of Live Pura Vida. And they have a really cool after-school program for young students of color. And it's a STEAM program, and they're adding an agriculture component. So that's why he connected with our group. And they're doing that with Fort Worth ISD. So more to come on that. Charlie shared the good news that Greater Mount Tabor, one of the Grow Southeast partners, has broken ground. They had a long process to go through with the city, and we could share a little bit about that. There were lots of hurdles, but they're through them, and they've broken ground. So that's very exciting. We're really happy to see that. Charlie too is going to be a new columnist with the newsletter that Becca and Harrison edit for CGUA. His first column is out in the December issue. So thank you very much, Charlie, for that work. And then we ended up by thinking about some new projects to work on in the new year. And one of them is a page, a social media page, Facebook page, that's going to link up community gardens and others with resources, and school gardens and backyard gardens who have resources with others who may have needs. So our idea is that, when someone like a Joa hears about a school garden that needs a something, they can go to this Facebook page, post their need for the something, and hopefully someone there will be able to help them out. So Becca's already working on this design, so thanks a million for that, and that'll be forthcoming in the new year. And another thing, we've talked about this before maybe, but just reinforced that there are a lot of garden projects that could be going, but they just need a little bit of starter funding. And so we're really hoping that we'll be able to apply for grants, do crowdfunding, something through the Food Policy Council to have a little pot of money, and then have an application process. And if a garden needs to install drip irrigation, for example, they could apply for that. And so that's another thing we're really hoping to work on with the whole Food Policy Council in the new year. Our next meeting, let me put this in the chat. Make sure I'm sending it not just to the panelists because they already know it. All right, Thursday, January 21st at 4 p.m. Next CGUA meeting. And then I'm going to shut up, but I'll put my name and email over there. So if you're not on our mailing list and you'd like to get our newsletter, you'd like to hear about our meetings, please just reach out and I'm happy to add you. Thank you.
Fantastic, Dave. Thank you. And next up, we have Children's Health. And Vahista Usuri is a Food Policy Council board member. And she's been serving as co-chair of the Children's Health Working Group. She is dietitian and chef and co-founder of To Taste.
Thank you. So our last meeting, we also had a special presentation. We had a guest speaker, and I'm so going to butcher her name, so I'm apologizing in advance. Selena Esikawu with UNT. Oh, I'm getting some nodding. Maybe I was slightly right. Okay. She's with the UNT Health Science Center. She helped participate in an initiative in Boulder County in Colorado that helped to remove the advertising of sugary beverages on children's restaurant menus. So since we've been working on our children's restaurant initiative, it was great to hear from someone who actually had boots on the ground running in an initiative like this. So she'd given us some background information and what they did to get the project rolling. And she had some good thought-provoking questions for all of us too to think about as we continue to proceed forward. So We do continue to work on our menu criteria. I think every meeting we think of, actually I know every meeting we think of something new. So it's just like this never ending crazy process, but that's a good thing. So we want to work out the kinks now before we, try to roll it out. But we have updated our form. Alexandra's created a really nice Google form that we can use to evaluate the children's menus. And we test them before every meeting and sometimes during our meetings as well with local Fort Worth restaurants, just looking at their menus online. We reevaluated, like I said, and then we realized our next steps. We do need to solicit feedback. We think we're at the point now where we're ready to share it with people that work in restaurants, whether it's the owners, chefs, basically decision makers, to get their feedback and just realistic expectations. Like, can this be done? What would be the drawbacks? What are the challenges? So if anyone does have any contacts with someone in restaurants that they feel like might be interested in a healthy children's menu initiative, please reach out to us and let us know and connect us with that person, because we would love to chat with them. We also started to talk a little bit about branding and marketing and what that will look like. We realized we might need some money to accomplish that. So there was a grant recently that was just released from the Centers, I always mess up the name, Center for Science and Public Interest. So Alexandra and I were gonna look into that. We both missed the webinar, but we're gonna check out the recording and see if there's anything that could be used for our group, because it was for children's restaurants, one of the grant funds that was released. We also need to think of incentives, what would get these restaurants to participate with us, and what we can offer. And in addition to that, because we just keep talking about this restaurant project, it can be overwhelming at times because it seems to just be our entire focus for the last year, I think. We have started to talk to about future projects to keep us pushing forward and remembering the bigger picture. So we do want to look more into the home piece of our mission. How can we reach children and families at home and help to improve what's going on there? And then also the promotion of the child feeding programs that are local. What can we do to help promote these programs and give awareness to the families in our community? So our next meeting is December 16th at 10:30. It'll be a WebEx meeting. If you're interested in attending, you can email Alexandra, and I believe she's still on. I know she had a bad signal, but she'll drop, oh, her email is already in there. She is on it. So if you want to send an email, she'll send you the calendar invite and get you invited to our next meeting. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bahista. And thirdly, we have the Food Recovery Working Group. Brittany, I think you're up for that report. As Brittany told us earlier, she is moving from being with the city of Fort Worth to the nonprofit world. And take it away.
Thank you. Just for reference, Gina is co-chair and can also be put on the spot for this report at any time and any future day.
I will remember that.
Thank you. The steering committee for the recovery working group just had a meeting to go over sort of transitioning and tagging in my, for all intents and purposes, replacement with the city, Michelle, who is probably an attendee at this meeting or maybe popping in when she can. We did a survey of our current group after the last meeting, which I believe was in October, and kind of reoriented and pivoted after COVID to decide what we want to work on. And we have a few projects that are happening right now that we're going to try and support as far as food recovery initiatives for either recovering food for composting or recovering food for wholesome nutrition. And so we're going to have a big open to the public meeting where we have guests from some local food recovery projects, and we want it to be roundtable and discussion style, and that's going to be on January 13th from 12:30 to 2 p.m. So extra long, so you can jump in if you want, and I'll throw that link in the chat, as well as the link for my teammates that I'm leaving behind at the city, which you can get in touch with about anything to do with food waste, food recovery, or recycling and trash. They have a whole expanded list of stuff that they cover. I think that's about it for us right now. We're sort of gearing up to have a good 2021 after getting kind of resettled after COVID.
All right, thank you very much. And speaking of 2021, now's the time we want to kind of talk about what, so we kind of already have talked about some of the things that will be happening in the working groups through into 2021, and just some really fantastic work being done. This is a chance for you to pop in any questions, comments, inquiries, what have you, about the Food Policy Council and our work, or things that you think might be good to look at focusing on. I think personally for me, I'm looking forward to, although it's going to be strange, and I understand the legislative session, it's starting, but they have not announced how the committee meetings are going to happen. And so it's going to be interesting to see, but it may or might be even a more easy time for people to participate, assuming some of that at least is virtual. So I think there's some important issues. And I know from some conversations a colleague of mine has had with state legislatures that 25 people can sway a state legislator on an issue. If 25 people call in, email, contact them, that's all it takes. And that's not very many people. You know, it takes a lot to sway, you know, federal policy, but with our state legislatures, they don't always know the issues. And so we really can make an impact at the state level if we'll just take a few minutes and take some time. Others of y'all want to talk about anything for 2021?
I'd love to see if we can come up with I'm Victoria Nelson with Catholic Charities, rolling off the board of the Food Policy Council, but I'd still like to suggest, you know, if we can come up with, once we see what bills are introduced, or if there's coalitions that we know we would kind of align with now, to go ahead and start looking at legislation where we may just want to simply, you know, support via a letter, or maybe if it's something that's more critical to us, consider lending our support, whether that means traveling to Austin, probably not given our current situation, but I'm certainly happy to help with those efforts as I can, and kind of coordinate it. I'm assuming it doesn't have to take a whole lot of time, but I'd really love to see like what our membership is interested in, as well as anybody who attends our meetings. And if it's an issue that we can raise our voice about, I feel like that should be a pretty great way to do that here, whether it's a state issue or a local issue for the city or county.
Definitely.
So one of the organizations that aligns with us, and I frequently find myself involved in, is the Farm and Ranch Freedom Alliance. They're very active, especially with the legislature, and they get lots of great things done, and they really engage with the local farmers and ranchers to keep us engaged in the legislative process, which is also something else I like. I'll drop that link in the.
And so along with Farm and Ranch Freedom Alliance, or FARFA, there is a statewide kind of formally informal statewide coalition of organizations kind of working on the similar issues, whether it's food systems, so all the way from farming and food waste to food access. And I'm part of that group, and I think I was going to rope somebody else in from here into attending those meetings on Fridays. And there's enough of a variety of organizations that we end up sharing our policy priorities and working on those issues, some of those issues together, because not everybody is engaged in all of the issues, but we're trying to be in conversation with each other to present a bigger, stronger front on food and farm and food access issues. Other folks, board members want to share, want to talk about something you feel like will be important in 2021 for the council?
Sure, I'll just kind of expand on what I was saying earlier about the momentum of this group. We're still a fairly young organization, and I've participated in it for the last several years. And so I've been very excited this past year especially, just seeing the amount of growth and progress that we've made on our different projects and the amount of working groups we have. And that momentum seems to be continuing. And we've got, the more people we get involved, the more people we get excited to participate, the greater our capacity to work towards our mission and expand the efforts of things that we may be doing in our day-to-day jobs, but also in our working groups. So I'm very excited to see what happens. I think that people can expect more from us in this coming year, but that will also require greater participation from our general council members as well. So I'm excited to see what more we do with policy work and supporting policies that will impact our communities, as well as potentially more events, whether they're educational or fundraising, and more collaboration to help impact the efforts that we're trying to make. And Susie, like you said, we're all doing this as volunteers, so none of us are getting paid to do this. So the more people we have on board to help us, I think the more we'll get done. So I'm very excited to see what 2021 holds, and I think it'll be fantastic.
It's got to be better than this year, right? I mean, you know, there really it has been a crazy year, but and we've had frustrations, and there've been a lot of, there's been tragedy and, changes in how we function, but there also, I think there's some good things that have come out of it as well. And we can build on those things as we move forward. All right, others want to share anything? Do we have anybody who's attending? Any attendees want to pop up with anything? Please feel free to put that in the chat, as always. All right. I'm going to give it just. So our next, well, Harrison shared with us when our next council meeting will be in February. And we're looking forward to that. I'm sure we will continue to be virtual for probably, I would expect, the most of the rest of the next year, just to seeing how things go. I look forward to the time when we can all be together in person again, because that's really enjoyable, and it's great to, have all the other conversations that happen while you're in person and that kind of thing.
And hugs.
Yeah. Hugs. Becca, do we have anything else we want to touch on?
I don't think anything that we need to touch on here. We may follow up with a board email or something to keep our work progressing forward. Victoria just popped a comment in the chat box as well. But I think that's all we have. So if anybody from the attendees would like to comment or say something, I'm happy to allow you to speak if you'd like to introduce yourself, since we have some time here. Otherwise, I think that's all we have.
Board members, do you have anything else you want to add? All right.
I'll just pop in and say that I know that this time of year is hard for a lot of us and those we serve, especially given the craziness that is 2020. and COVID-19. And so I just wanted to remind everyone, food, if, I'll just, food insecurity, poverty is a social determinant of health. I think we're preaching to the choir here. And so if anybody that you come across needs any help, they can always call Catholic Charities Fort Worth's main line. And we have COVID assistance funding to give out to the community. So whether it's like rent or childcare issues or anything like that, definitely try us and we can help you. And if not, refer you to a partner that can take care of you. We also have short-term case management available to help people get through the crisis. And so if it's a longer-term solution that they're needing, we can also offer that, and that program is open and recruiting. And so just any family, we can serve everyone. We also have transportation solutions available and low-cost dental clinic, and that's very much tied to our overall health. And so just to kind of shout out to those services that can help you serve those that you serve.
Fantastic, thank you. Other resources that anybody wants to share for the end of the year?
Yes, Alexandra here again. I was having technical difficulties, so I will not be turning my camera back on, but, and I'll drop this in the chat as well. Community Action Partners also does have some funding remaining for the current year. And the 2021 program year tends to begin in mid-January, so people who need assistance would be able to apply for the new year at that time, and I'll put that information in the chat. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you.
I might as well throw mine into Cowtown Farmers Market. We made it. We worked very hard, so we should be proud. We accept SNAP and the Lone Star card, and as well as the pandemic EBT cards. So if you know someone who is interested in buying local foods but is on SNAP assistance, we accept that at Cowtown Farmers Market. You can find us on Facebook. I'll throw a link in there.
Fantastic. Okay, I don't think we've had anything from any attendees. So we will go ahead and wrap up. Again, I want to really thank our board and all of the work that you all do. And I think we do, like Becca has referred to, we do have some great momentum with a lot of different things going on and really making an impact, even with a volunteer organization. So I appreciate it, and I look forward to 2021, and we will talk with you all later.
Bye. Miss you.
For sure.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yes.
Take care.
Happy
Bye.
holidays.
Have a good year.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.